Candy. Hi.
Hi, Suze. I miss you.
I miss you too. Episode 776. I know it's like we don't live in the same area, but yet when you go around the world, it feels like you're further away.
Yeah. And then like any extra time in between recording or anything changing schedule makes me feel like I'm not seeing Susie on the rigs. Something's up. Something has happened.
Yeah, it's a lot, but we're here now.
But I'm enjoying myself. Things are turning up and getting a little bit better in Tulum in Mexico. The weather changed, and thank goodness we finally have some sunshine. Yeah, can't complain, But I have read some really interesting articles and so many fun things that I'm dying to talk to you about.
Everything.
I want to start with an animal story. I love those. But this is an animal story with a twist.
Okay.
So there's a zoo in Japan that has experienced a sudden peak.
I heard about this.
You heard about this?
I'm so into it.
It's so funny. Okay. So the zoo in Japan, all of a sudden, female visitors are just flocking there. And the numbers of female visitors is just skyrocketing. Why? Because of a sexy gorilla. There's a gorilla named Shibari who's now being named the handsome gorilla called
He's
the
like
George
the
Clooney.
Fabio.
Yes.
George Clooney.
George Clooney of gorillas. Suze, have you seen let me send you these pictures.
Yeah, he's hot. He's hot. I watched the video. I mean,
I've dated worse. Right?
Yeah, that is one dreamy gorilla.
I mean, current boyfriend excluded, but that look at those eyes.
I mean, hungry eyes. That's what they are.
Yeah.
But okay, well, here's what I want to know.
Right. Okay, please.
You know how have you ever met like a little boy? You're an adult lady and you meet like the cutest little boy in the whole wide world and you're like, oh my gosh, you're my boyfriend. And you like say these funny things like, when should we go on a date or whatever?
Yeah.
And if a man did that with a little girl, it would be
not
like,
okay.
You are disgusting. But when women do it with little boys, it's like fun and whatevs. And I feel like this with the gorilla. Like, why are women so
worked up about it?
Yeah, but and also why is it fine that we like are lusting after a animal?
Is
it because we know it's a joke, whereas men will actually bang their dogs and stuff?
Oh my God! What if? You think?
Yeah,
because
there was a for real one.
Like this was like haha funny until you did that, and I was like, "Fuck, that would be so weird." If okay, no, here's the male equivalent. There's a gorilla at the zoo with big old titties.
Oh.
Everybody's going to see that. There was a pig. I still have this.
Are you saying there is one, or you're just saying that would happen?
Wait till I finish that. I'm saying the gorilla with the big old titties would happen. But this other story, there was a pig at the OC Fair. You and I went. We were together when we saw this pig who had the biggest balls I've ever seen.
Yeah, I remember those balls.
And I crowds. So, but mixed gender. But probably more boys who are like, look at those nuts.
Okay, yeah. So how are we sure that the increase in admission is all women? Who is doing the math on that? I think that's...
And maybe it's just that
probably
women...
come one, come all.
Right. And hopefully
everyone wants to see
coming,
this.
If you know what I mean.
I think it's probably like the pig balls, where it's like, let me take a look at those balls.
Right. And who has free time during the day? Like, what's the workforce look like in Japan? We need to this is correlation is not causation, women. People. Yeah. And maybe we're just not all attracted to gorillas, but I'm not kidding. He is kind of like,
he's so hot.
we can like, have you seen those? There'll be images floating around Instagram or something like that. They'll be like, look at this beautiful duck. Like, this is like a duck, but like a hot
it's a
duck.
sexy duck.
And you're like, okay, I totally get it. I agree. That's a sexy mallard or whatevs. But
and men do use the fact. Remember, they did a study about women watching like animals banging, and they get wet. Like there's a women get wet watching even animals banging, and people were being like, see, women are gross, but really it's just like a physiological thing that your brain's like banging wetness.
And then shame.
Yeah, and then how you dirty harlot.
Right. Yeah. And that doesn't happen to dudes?
Well, they'd have to get a boner. That would be weird.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
I feel like they would.
I bet their brains light up.
Yes.
I think their brains probably light up, but their wiener's like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, the wiener's like, no, thank you. And we don't have our brains light up and then everything else lights up.
But the thing about
I've seen like people handle some slimy sea slugs and I've gotten excited. Like,
it's
like
wet.
A sea cucumber. I'm like,
it's slick and slimy.
That looks slick and slimy. And that looks, have I said too much?
Right. But that story about that guy banging that dog, that was a real story here in the PA area. He was a professor and he was banging his own dog, but out in the park. And then when the police came.
In public?
Yeah. In public. The police came and he was like, I was just blowing off steam.
Was that the name of his dog?
That is so bad. But excellent.
That is disgusting.
Right. So it's like, maybe that's why it's okay for women to make the joke, because we're not ever going to do it, you weirdos.
Yeah.
We just like to see their balls.
Like, yeah, but nobody is even they just want to see his handsome face.
That's so true.
Maybe it's just, that's what I'm saying. Like if the same way we pass around that beautiful duck picture on Instagram.
Yeah, we
isn't
just
it the
love
same
beauty.
thing? We're like, wow, that is a beautiful creature with that's undeniable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Can't not even up for debate.
I mean, I am starting to think though that these zoos are just releasing these stories because it really does make me want to go to the zoo.
Like what? Right. I'm like, what's happening at the zoo?
I'm just saying that whenever I saw that haircut, I thought, this is genius. They should do more stuff like that. Dress them up.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I mean,
then we're like verging on circus.
But word circus is like great except for the death and destruction.
Yeah, totally. And I like the promotion of, like getting to know your animals, like Steve Irwin style, that anything that like gets us excited. I know way more about the fucking sun bear than I ever thought I would or needed to because of that zoo. I know how lions' hair grow and not like that. So you could say shout out to the zoos for like sort of educating me, but only because I'm stubborn. Like,
I know what a lion shouldn't look like.
I know what I know what I'm being lied to. Like, yeah. But I feel like this is kind of like, have you seen the national parks Instagram feed? Like they've become very entertaining.
Savvy.
And, yes. And I feel like, is this the zoos trying to utilize, viral trends to...
Yeah, because I would love to know who decided that it was a sexy gorilla and how was the word spread, you know?
Yeah.
How did anyone even, what, word of mouth? Everyone's like, you got to go to the zoo.
You got to go to the zoo.
And see the sexy gorilla
happening at the zoo.
With the smoldering brown eyes.
I mean, I would go to the zoo.
He knows his angles.
Way sooner. Yes, he does. He's like hitting them. Pose. And then here's my question too. Do the female gorillas feel the same?
Right. Is he getting a lot of action?
Yeah. Is this just beauty standards based on human qualities and human beauty attributes. We're like,
Right.
ooh, that's
Or
good symmetry. Like, how do monkeys feel about?
Yeah, what's it called?
Are
The
they like,
golden
ooh, his
triangle.
nostrils are too big? The golden triangle of what?
You know, beauty.
Oh, the
It's
ratio. Like, yes. Yes,
I think that's
like
what
the
it's called.
Vitruvian man or whatever. That's like, yes, the golden ratio for sure. That's it.
Yeah,
Of, like,
ratio. Yeah.
The everything looks like balanced and
Yeah,
one of
I
my
think
favorite
that
jokes
must
is about
extend
gorillas.
to them.
Yeah. Now
Okay,
you're gonna have to hear it.
What is it? Yeah.
Why do gorillas have big nostrils?
Why? Oh,
Because they have big fingers.
Sarah's told me this terrible joke before.
It gets better.
Kind of funny.
It is good. Yes.
Wait,
okay,
I'll
so
tell you what's good for
What?
animals, and that is embrace pet insurance.
This is necessary. No matter what
Necessary.
kind of animal you have. I bet that gorilla needs some insurance for his beautiful face. Can they insure a handsome gorilla face?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe.
We don't want anything to happen to that.
Like no pre-existing
Beautiful.
conditions. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Anybody that has a pet, red alert, you need insurance because guess what? Pets do weird stuff and then they get into trouble and you take them into the vet and it's like a gazillion dollars. And you say, why didn't I listen to Susie and Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. I'm the ghost of Christmas future. I'm telling you. Just trust me. And so this is the secret. You have to get pet insurance. And that way you're covered and you don't have to worry. Uh-oh, my cat ate a ball of yarn or whatever.
My dog ate an entire
mittens.
pillow. Yeah. Oh.
Sarah. That's my favorite joke. So don't wait for the unexpected to happen. Join the massive community of pet owners who trust Embrace Pet Insurance to protect their pet. So head to embracepetiinsurance.com/braincandy and sign up for pet insurance today. That's embracepetiinsurance.com/braincandy. One last time, make sure you go to embracepetiinsurance.com/braincandy or else they won't know we sent you.
Yes.
That face that you made was exactly like the face I made when you said then it would be a female room.
I'm
in our
so proud
lives.
of that. Yeah, and you have better self-control than I do.
That's so funny.
I could, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Sorry.
good. Okay, we talked about handsome gorillas. I read an article in the Atlantic written by Adrienne Mattei. I think that's how you say her last name. I'm trying to get better at learning the writers' names because they're so good and they
deserve some credit.
You know,
That's nice.
when I'm using their material to talk about on the show. So shout out to Adrienne. It reminded me, Susie, it's like this article was written for you, about you. This is you in an article, and it is unlocking something that I bet you're like, you already know you have, but I think it's great. We've put a name to it. So the article is all about what you need to be good at a holiday party. Like, what is the quality and characteristic that makes somebody good at socializing at a party? And the author called it, it's a certain kind of charisma, but it's selfless charisma that she calls being the vibe pope. Yes, which I thought is just like such
this.
Okay, so
idea.
The vibe pope. Let me give you a good definition of what the vibe pope is. So, a vibe pope is consider it a non-denominational title for those who unite people under the divine light of a good time. And so she talks in this article about how in order to make a good party and in order to get people talking and facilitate a good time, you have to have charisma. But the majority of our ideas or thoughts on charisma, or our focus and attention on charisma, is about narcissistic charisma and charisma that's for the self and for individual gain.
Look at
and
me.
How interesting it is when you look at it in terms of like improving the vibe, improving the scene and being
the collective
a good time facilitator. Yes.
Okay.
And how I was like, this is what Susie has mastered.
That is so nice of you to say that.
So here's what to say. Vibe popes offer warmth, emotional intelligence, and social generosity at a time when going out and meeting people isn't what it used to be. And so this was even interesting that there was this Pew Research Center poll that was done that said 35% of people say that socializing has become less important to them since the pandemic began. And as a result, people are getting really bad at, what Larry David would say, middling.
Yeah, they are so bad.
Yes. So vibe popes are guardians of the party's communal energy, and their charisma, instead of being self-centered, is mature, thoughtful, and not narcissistic.
Oh, wow. I'm really honored that you would say that about me.
Every single thing. Because I always think maybe she's such a good interviewer, but it's more than that, because it's not like you're putting people on the spot or like, and we've talked about how sometimes after a party or something or when you go to a party, you can almost be drained afterwards from facilitating interactions and a vibe. And she talked about that in here, that we don't really think about the labor behind building community, both practical and spiritual.
That is so nice. I really feel seen by Adrian, because she's
I
so
thought
right.
So too. I was like, how you always say, did you write this? Like this, is this written about Susie? Every single thing. That is what I feel like is really unique. It makes somebody a really good interviewer. It makes somebody fun to have at a party.
Well, I thought so much about how you claim that, you aren't great at detecting vibe from somebody and when the conversation is naturally ending, and you have this paranoia now. And I keep trying to decide if I think that's true about you, and I can't figure it out.
Why would you? It's just because this is a good match. I think the vibe pope, and I'm your fucking disciple.
But Sarah, but you're such a great reactor and stuff. Like, how can you be a good reactor if you don't have a sense of like what's happening in the room? I don't know.
Yeah, but then I think I don't know when to get. It's kind of like, okay, you know what it is? It's like a game of double dutch, and like the conversation, everything is like spinning the ropes and blah blah blah, and you have to keep that up. And then I jump in, and then I'm like, whoa, look at us doing this. This is awesome. Yeah, let's keep doing this forever. And the person's like, oh, I'm getting tired. I'm gonna jump out, and then they jump out, and I'm like, no, we should definitely stay jumping rope. Let's keep doing this. Woo 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 woo. What else you got?
Right.
And that, I think, is a little bit of what that is.
What's going on? Okay.
So,
Wow. Well, thanks to Adrian for noticing the people that are tempting this vibe shift and vibe popery.
And I thought about the different how sometimes this can, at first, or does somebody maybe look like narcissism or look like somebody it could look different, or it's hard to identify, maybe because we're not really looking for it. And I think that the combo of narcissists and vibe popes is what makes reality television good. Like,
well,
you
it
have
makes a
to
party
have
good.
People. Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
That's
you can't
I was
only
say
have
you also have people
pope.
who are going to fuck up, and I'm like, that would be at a good party and in a good reality show. You totally hit the nail on the head there. Yeah,
I am getting kind of fed up with how people don't want to do anything anymore since the pandemic. Like, hey, people,
and not even put in any social labor. Like, there's no effort.
And they look like hot shit, too. They're walking around in their jammies. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Let's get it together, everyone. And we only have a little bit of time before the next pandemic.
Right.
Let's enjoy
Everybody
it.
can just invest in a sweater shaver. And I say that as somebody who needs one myself.
I love it. Okay. I wish I would have known this.
I'm
your
going to get one. I had
up.
one, and I got a cheap one, and it did what cheap ones often do.
What made you say that just then, though? You feel like a sweater shaver?
Because I think about how everybody's in their jammies, and how they're all, like, at first when people are like, when you buy that athleisure like set, oh, they are looking good. And then if you're anything like me, you've washed that 1,000 times, and it's pilling between the legs, and all it needs is a good shave.
Yeah,
and
please.
Back to new. And I'm saying time is valuable, but we all. Yeah,
I'm just sick of it. Like, let's let's get out there, people. You're all lonely. You're all sad watching your dumb shows every night. Let's go say
a dumb watcher of dumb shows. You could do both.
You can do. I love shows too, but I mean, come on,
shows.
we got to get out there. We got to get out there, and because that's how you're going to get good stories and funny shenanigans. Only happen if you leave the house.
I am learning this. And then adventure, and even also dopamine hits. Like, you can't.
That's right, Sarah. You're onto something.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's everything returns to this baseline, and if you don't do anything new or novel or push yourself, or I don't want to say this is a lesson I learned in kite surfing, but it kind of is.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, I'm going to share this story. So I got this for Eli for, signed us up for this for like 3 days of this like intensive, and last day we ended up doing like 8 hours of kite surf. It was crazy. We were literally the last ones out in the water. The sun was setting. We were kite surfing by moonlight. It was fucking awesome. But there was, when you're looking around, you're seeing other people do this. It looks really, like difficult and challenging, but it's very basic skills. Like it's basically standing up like from the ground, like standing up, like how you'd go to stand up out of a chair. And it's a lot of pat the stomach, pat your head, rub your stomach kind of thing, and then you just have to like control the kite at the same time. So you're doing a lot at once, but they're motions that anybody can do, but it just looks really intense. So finally this moment comes where I put it all together, and I stand up and I get it, and I go and I'm riding the wave and feeling the wind and using the kite and doing everything he's telling me to do, and it's super successful. And I fall in the water after like going for a little bit, and just like have a moment where I cry to myself of like, oh my God, you are not too old to do hard things, and you are not too like, you can still put in the effort to learn something new, to do something badass. And then I was talking about this to the instructor. He said he took a guy out there who was 70 years old and took him kite surfing, and he was able to do it. And like that, it just takes, he said they had a Spanish word for being stubborn. And he's like, it loosely translates to, it's like more positive than being stubborn, but like, it means I'm going to keep going and not quit and keep going. And he's like, those are the people who are able to learn this. And yeah, so
that's what grit is.
Started on this. Yeah, never give up.
Well, I'm telling people to get off their couches every once in a while.
Yes. Yeah, because, and what comes from that joy, that moment of like, holy shit, I can do this thing that's really hard. Everything else, the rest of the week, I had those little moments of like, well, you could do this other hard thing, and you could do this other hard thing, and you could do this other hard thing.
Sure as heck doesn't have to be kite surfing or anything like that. It could be like going to a library event or something else you think is hard.
Yes. Talking to a new friend.
Yeah.
Right.
For real.
Going to like a meetup and like meeting new people who are
coming on our Zooms in Candy Club. A lot of people get intimidated about that.
Yeah. And just like opening up and sharing with us and talking. And we are the exact people you should do that with.
Yeah. And if you could also add a little something else into your routine, and that is for wellness. Remember how on Things We Got Wrong, I said how I was thinking about taking up coffee. I was like, how could millions of people be wrong? Because I'm a tea drinker,
Yes.
Right?
I'm glad you discovered this.
Yeah, this is called For Wellness, and it's a little stick of powder that you can put into your coffee. It's a supplement, and it is delicious. I was so nervous. Like, what if it's not
I'm so glad
yummy?
That you're on this train.
Yeah, and it has so many benefits.
And they don't just stop there. Those energy bites are what have fueled many of our snowboarding days now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I should have said.
Yes.
It's not just
It is the ultimate. We throw that in the bag, and we have everything we need on the mountain to, like, get that energy back and feel really good and focused and
Yeah, because it's like a range of snacks and supplements that are designed to help you get the most out of your mind and body. And it's so fun. Like, they have all the magical stuff, like the collagen.
I am a leisure athlete, but this makes me feel like I'm
like an elite athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, hang on, let me get my bites, my espresso energy bites that are like delicious, and then I'm like also fueling my body.
They worked with elite athletes to develop it because they were, they always want to optimize what they're putting in their body. So this was a way for them to do that. And it's freaking great. And by the way, it tastes great in tea too. It doesn't have to be coffee, although, I mean, that's what it's designed for. What in the heck is in lion's mane? I do not know, but it is sweeping the nation.
Thing. Yes, it is.
It's the hot thing.
It is.
And I love it. So if you drink coffee or tea, it's time to give 4Wellness a try. Head to 4wellness.com/braincandy and use code braincandy for 25% off your order. Once again, that's 4wellness.com and use code braincandy for 25% off. Make sure you use our promo code braincandy so they know we sent you.
Yes.
It's yum-a-lish.
Yes. Yeah, so get out there and talk to people because, but it is really hard.
I'm not saying it's going to be fun. I'm saying it's going to be funny.
Right. So that is one of the things they also mention in the article is that it's something, this like genuine human warmth is not something you can outsource, but it is something that you can improve and that you can get better on. And all you have to do is, in a way, do exactly what we were talking about in an episode ago about fucking chili and the neighbors not being into it.
Right.
What they missed is that whoever gave the chili probably has good social charisma.
Yeah. Right. And
probably is good at connecting with people.
The magic word for me about connection, the word is curious. Get curious.
Yeah.
It's like the key, because if you can be like, I wonder what, you're in. Because everybody's story is freaking crazy. And if you can find out about it, you are in for a real treat.
This will make you good at small talk, medium talk, large talk, social interactions, dating, getting through family events and functions, getting through functions with people you don't know. This is...
When did we become life coaches?
I did spend a lot of money to get a few tips and tricks to share with people.
You're way better than a life coach. That's right.
If you want to call, sometimes like life coach, I feel like is more like, here's what you do right now. Cut to the chase. Like, let's just do this. And I think that's what we prescribe on here often. It's like, just get out there, set yourself a little goal. Yeah, that's enough of that. Just like,
right.
Pick a place.
I don't want to get out there either. I like my house, but I'm doing it. If I can do it, you can do it, for Pete's sake.
And every single thing that is rewarding comes with effort and energy.
People do not like this story.
Yeah. This is actually a very nice segue into my next story.
Let's hear it.
Now, I am not a student of thermodynamics. So I need you to work with me on understanding how this works, because I'm still scratching my head, but I believe that if I had an engineering degree, then maybe I'd understand this a little more, and maybe some of our listeners do. So, but we're going to give it a try. There is a club in Glasgow, and good news is I've researched it. It's been going on for not many, but like 3 or 4 years now, so it's been successful. This club is called SWG3, but they probably pronounce it like swig or whatever, something. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
This club that's been nicknamed Body Heat transfers the energy of the people dancing, stores it, and reuses this energy as thermal energy, much like how energy is stored in a battery to use at a later time.
That's bonkers.
Isn't that?
I love it.
And so I do too. And it's super cool. So the owner of this company that creates the pumps to do this happens to love going to clubs. And when he was going to clubs, he's like, we're all really sweaty and hot here. What do we can do something with this energy. And it's super cool because they created this technology created this thing using technology that's already existed. This is stuff we've been using for years. We're just using it in a way, I say we, these guys are using it in a way that people didn't think of before and is using like something that we're already doing. So here's how I'm going to explain it.
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Heat pumps generally worked by leveraging stable temperatures in underground rocks to balance out temperature functions in buildings above the surface. So this company says that the temperatures inside the Earth's crust remain relatively constant. So in the winter, colder air from the building gets pumped into the earth to absorb heat from below. This then circulates back up to the buildings as warmer air. Once cooled, it continues back down to the earth in a cycle. And so they just did the exact same thing and applied it to this club. They said they took existing technology, added air collectors in its ceiling to suck up the hot air put out by the club goers on the floor. And it's the same mechanism that other venues use to pump the air out of the building. They're like, instead of pumping it out, let's pump it back in to the ground, store it, and then we'll reheat the building with all of this.
Wow,
later.
It sounds great.
This feels
it does sound a little bit like the teacher on Peanuts, wah, wah, wah. And I'm like, yeah, great.
That's why I said
know.
stick with me. I'm going to read, but like, I read it 4 times and I'm still like, totally. Cycle that heat.
I feel like that about all fuel, though. I don't understand how a gasoline makes a car go. That makes no sense. Like, honest to God, I don't understand it. Who came up with this?
Right.
Solar
all
power?
of thermodynamics.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay. Right. Like, what do you mean stored? What do you mean stored?
Right.
Where do you put it? What do you mean you put it somewhere? I don't understand that. In what?
You know
bag?
those riverboats that go with the water goes round and round, like big wheel keep on turning? I'm like, what?
Big wheel
I don't know what you mean. Proud Mary, okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sounds great.
We're rolling with it.
I don't know how we're rolling.
Well, it says that the rest of the year, when it's not being used as a club, it's being used as like an art space, an art venue, and it provides all the heating for the space.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, self-sufficient.
Yeah, and they're trying
That's
to
a lot of dancing.
I know, but you remember going to nightclubs?
No. I never went to any.
As soon as it came out of my mouth. That's why I said, do you know? I didn't say, do you know what it's like there? I tried to be like, do you remember that one time maybe?
It's probably why I love wedding dancing so much. I'm like, this is great because it's just like the only time I've ever done it.
It is, and you're sweaty on that dance floor, right? Woo. Woo. Yeah, just imagine that. And
but you know what? No matter,
maybe some club drugs. Ooh.
No, definitely wasn't doing club drugs.
Well, obviously.
But something that will look great even when I'm sweating on the dance floor is Thrive Cosmetics.
Wearing it right now, baby.
Thrive, me too.
All the time. And the fact that I can wear that lash extension mascara, tubing mascara, go paddleboarding all day, and
come on,
no flakes, you will never, ever, ever see raccoon eyes in any of my photos. Don't go back any more than 5 years because before they were a sponsor, all bets are off. But when I discovered Thrive, now here we are, looking good. Raccoon eyes be gone.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it is truly magical. It's like the fuel thing. I don't know how they did it, but I'm not going to question it.
Right.
Any hoodles. Yeah. It's not just the mascara, it's everything. Their products are outstanding. The semi-permanent smoothing lipstick is wonderful and really does last. And it doesn't feel dry and gross like some of the ones that stay forever. But it's like, wait, is this just my lips now? And they have the Brilliant Eye Brightener, which is really lovely. But all their products are wonderful, and they give back to the community, which makes them even more delish. Thrive Cosmetics is luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/braincandy. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/braincandy for 20% off your first order. You will love all of their products. I know that.
Okay, so you're the Vibe Pope, just so you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought the whole time, I was like, this is all Susie. Okay, we talked about that. Then Is that what I was just talking about? What was I just talking about?
We were just talking about the
I was
nightclub.
talking about the nightclub. That's right. Nightclub. Okay. So, nightclub in Glasgow, collecting all the heat. I'm super for it.
Yeah, what's not to love?
No, it's fantastic. Wonderful. I'm thinking about what I want to share with you next. I read another Atlantic article. This one written by Faith Hill, but not that Faith Hill. Another Faith Hill. I looked it up. Don't worry. So you didn't have to.
God. You thought she was moonlighting. I love it.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
She is
I was
multi-talented.
Like, right, she is. She's a multi-talented woman. And this was about families, so I thought maybe, does the woman know about families?
She sure does.
Fits. So,
she's got love that lasts a lifetime.
Adorable. Is that one of her songs?
No, but it should be.
That could be. That fucking could be. That, like, I feel like if you were to play like the game, like one of these three is not a Faith Hill song. And love that will last a lifetime. I'm never choosing that one.
I can't.
Love
it's too funny.
a lifetime.
It's a duet with Tim McGraw.
Yeah. Love lasts a lifetime. Yes, I already know this song.
Stop it.
I'm just gonna keep Susie going. This is real funny.
I'm dying. Oh, that's so funny.
I have to give you credits in the credits of the song. Give you recognition because somehow you own the song because you came up with the name. I think that's how that works.
I cannot. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you want to talk about cousins?
Okay.
Yeah. Did you read the article in the Atlantic that was on cousins?
No.
I feel like it's hard for me to transition into something it's not that serious, but
I did
more
not
serious
read
than
it.
this. You are somebody who has a lot of cousins, yes.
Yeah, I do.
How many would you say you have?
20.
Oh my God,
25?
that is the exact average number that people have based on when you do the math of parents having this many siblings on average, and then if they have this many siblings on average. Right now, the average number is 20. Again, I'm like, did Susie write this article? And now, because families are shrinking,
yeah,
the number of cousins are shrinking, which you wouldn't think is, you're like, okay, no big deal. But this article really breaks down how cousins are a very unique relationship where they know the ins and outs of your family, but they could have very different political views, religious views, socioeconomic status, class, all this stuff. So they're removed in a way.
Excuse me.
And for some people, they're super, super close. They live on the same block. Some of them live in the same house. Other people
don't even know them, really.
Don't even know them. I don't even know my cousins. Really.
I was going to say, I don't have any idea how many cousins you have.
On average, I don't even think I know how many cousins I have. On average, cousins live, I think it said 237 miles apart. Only about 6% of adult cousins live in the same census tract. The rest live 237 miles on average apart. There's also a big difference in things like closeness of cousins with more interpersonal things such as, for sure that. Even things like the work that we do and the emotional labor involved in sibling or in closer family relationships is much higher. But cousins, they have kind of the same awareness of family dynamics. So you can vent to them, you can talk to them about, what's going on, but there's not as much of a feeling of obligation to emotional and work that you have to do in
so they were framing it as that's a good thing, it's a break from
it's a break. It's a break. the article says the classic cousin relationship is amazingly uncomplicated. And so one of the things the article talks about, which I thought was really interesting, is that in modern families, we're seeing a change in relationships with extended kin because families are getting smaller. So instead of being and it's not like families maybe like own the family business where cousins and aunts, everybody's like working for everybody. Instead of looking at it as a family tree, they call it more of a family beanstalk, that it's more of this fewer lateral relationships and more vertical relationships, that the American family is tall and narrow. And because of life expectancy getting longer, we have like great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, siblings, but multiple generations of relatives alive at the same time. And what can happen is this vertical integration or intergenerational bonds can be tight and tremendously meaningful, but also come with care duties that you have. If you are the child of the parent, there's a care duty, the grandparent, the great-grandparent. And what's very different in cousin relationships is that it doesn't often come with care duties. But there's not a lot of model for this out there. There's not a lot of, we have an understanding of what sibling relationships look like on TV. The cousin one is very loosely defined. We don't really talk about it as much.
Yeah.
It's a really, really interesting article because it's something I never thought about, because it's not something that I have in my, even immediate or awareness at all.
You fascinate me, though, because I have a big family, but there really isn't a lot of engagement. It's not like we're all hanging out all the time and doing stuff or whatever. We're just not that kind of family. And I yearn for it. I always want that, but that's just the way it goes. Whereas, and I always think about you and how you have far less than even I do, and you do not yearn for it. You're fine with the situation, and you don't have the loneliness that I sometimes feel.
I think that comes maybe from the community that you got growing up in church and with a bunch of people. So you know what it felt like to be part of, and they would call themselves a family and a community, and
Well, and even in that little house Peg had, and there were 7 of us. I mean,
that's a way more. It was kind of like the messages of be a lone wolf. Everybody was
doing their own thing.
Grandma's single woman, mom's single woman.
So you don't have a sense of missing out on anything because you didn't know.
You can't know what you can't miss what you never had or never knew.
But when you see it in movies and stuff, don't you think like, oh, that looks nice? Or are you like, thank God I don't have to deal with that shit? Because it is a mixed bag, believe me.
Yeah, I mean, I do a little bit. I do when there are the idea of a family reunion sounds super cool, but now I don't want to hang it. Not mine.
Somebody else's.
Not ones with intergenerational trauma. I'm good, but so that's
so you associate family with
the call
pain.
is coming from inside the house. You don't want to hang out in the house. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, let's go hang out at the neighbors. So that is, And I just thought it was such an interesting article because it talks so much about something that's very foreign to me.
Right. You're thinking of it anthropologically, like this thing that exists.
Oh, it's like the apes and the monkeys. Oh, let's study this from,
Yeah. I mean, it is fun to have a big family, I will say.
I know, it seems
especially
so fun.
If you're not the mom. I can't imagine being the mom of
a
big family. No, thank you.
I think those moms love it.
I know. Did you see when Tori, what is her new name? Tori Gwynn from The Challenge posted their picture, and there's more kids every year. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're multiplying. And she was like, I didn't create any new toes this year.
No new toes.
I'm just thinking, she seems to genuinely thrive. She's always wanted what she called a football team of kids.
Yeah.
I just am, talk about, that's like the gorilla at the zoo. I'm like, interesting. I cannot relate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what we can all relate to, and that is how much we love a good pair of leggings. Thank you, Honey Love, for meeting our needs.
And I really like something that's going to like hold me in all the right places. No underwear lines, because I don't have to wear underwear with those things.
They're so great.
I don't mean that in the way of like, I am not one of those gals who can go without. So when Susie was like, oh yeah, you don't need them, I'm like, other people don't need them.
No,
I'm going to wear them because I like a little extra safety support. I don't know. Nope, don't need them. They're perfect.
No, they're designed for that.
Yeah.
I was with one of my friends and I was asking her before the holidays, what do you hope for Christmas? What's on your wish list? And one of hers was a Honey Love bra. And I was like, I love that. Oh my gosh, you're going to love it. I hope Santa gets it for you. But their bras are great. It's just shapewear that makes you feel supported and comfortable and feel flattering and confident. And what more would you ever want? Treat yourself to the best bras and shapewear on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/braincandy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/braincandy. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Start the new year with confidence thanks to Honey Love. Ain't that the truth?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I like that article.
I don't think I told you one of my cousins is a Secret Service agent and he works for Biden. And did you see how that...
Why do you leave this stuff? You don't tell me any of the fun things that I want to know.
I'm so sorry. Well, when I saw there was a drunk driver that hit the motorcade, I was watching the video to see if he was one of the ones that like ushered Biden into the car. Because can you imagine what a wild job, you know?
What a wild job.
When I watched the JFK documentary that I mentioned, those guys that were talking, a lot of them were Secret Service people. And the one guy was saying that he had been assigned to Jackie and he was so pissed. He was like going shopping and doing all this boring shit. And then he was the guy on that day that was like the first one to intervene. And he was like, well, I certainly got the action that I wanted, but like, God. Yeah. Cause like, I'm sure if you're one of these men and women, you kind of want it to be exciting. You want to have a meaningful role, but then like what that actually means is like, oh wait, no.
Right. No, I want no action. Torn. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's my story.
Yeah. Cousins, man. I'm kind of jealous. And you have Secret Service agents that you get to interview and talk to.
I mean, they can't tell anything, so that's probably why. I would love that. Can you imagine?
See if you can catch
it's torture. As
Secret
the
Serviceman says, "What?
Vibe Pope."
Right.
I want to ask, but
I couldn't imagine.
No can do.
It feels kind of like we can connect this article to the other Atlantic article about being a vibe pope, though, because one of the things that it also said, usually, you know, we saw with the pandemic, as we were talking about before, a lot of social connection went down. One area where people were reaching out more is to these kind of more distant relatives, and there was an uptick in connection.
Here's what I want you to tell me.
Cousins. Oh, what?
In that subject, can you like tell me what a once removed, a second cousin once removed, what the hell does all that mean?
I don't know, Suze.
Do you think they're making stuff up? Like when they just say that?
I think that means once removed, I think it means not from this beanstalk, from the next beanstalk. You know what I mean? Like,
give me an example.
So,
like your mom's
grandma
sister
has daughters. Grandma has two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
One of those daughters then has another daughter. And then, oh God, this is good.
But they all get love that lasts a lifetime.
Tree. Right. It feels like a different grandparent, or like the same grandparent, but different. No, that's aunt. Same great grandparent, different grandparent. Right?
What?
Let's ask the internet. What is a cousin once removed mean? I'm not the first person. A difference of one generation, twice removed between that was kind of what I was trying to explain. A difference of one generation. So
would it be like my husband, he is a cousin. So then
cousin chart.
My husband has a cousin. Then we had a son. So is that cousin Lincoln's cousin once removed?
Okay. Say that again. We're going to do it.
Adam has a cousin.
What? Adam has a cousin. So that means that they have the same grandparent.
Yes, they do.
That would be the first cousin once removed.
That's a first cousin, ding dong.
No, that's a first cousin. Different. Okay. So if you have the same grandparents, first cousin.
Yes.
If you have same grandparents, but different great-grandparents, how does that make sense? First cousin once removed. Look at the game chart.
I think that it's Lincoln to the cousin. So, like, Lincoln's born, and it's not an uncle, and they're not cousins. I think it's cousin once removed. That's what Adam's cousin is.
Okay.
But this is funny listening to you talk about it.
Distinguishing your third cousin twice removed from your second cousin thrice removed can be a real head scratcher.
I'll say. This is one hell of a beanstalk.
This is. When cousins are not in the same generation, then we refer to them as removed. For example,
that's what I'm saying.
First cousins once removed declares that either one of you is one generation away from being first cousins. If your first cousin has children, yes, then they are first cousins once removed. Yes. The closest common ancestor shared with your grandparents, but you are once removed from the level of first cousin held by their parents. Whew. Did we get it?
It's crazy. Yeah, we did. I have clarity.
Okay, good. I don't.
Because I had a theory. Fine. Yeah, but that's because you don't have anyone in mind.
Right, I'm reading it. So you're imagining that.
Who these people are. Okay, that's my first cousin was removed, and that's my second cousin. And it's wild.
Yeah,
But we better figure it out because apparently we're connecting because we don't have any friggin' siblings anymore.
They call it the table of consanguinity. Is that a word?
Oh, cool. I don't know that. Never saw that word. We learned a word.
We did.
All right, I'm going to study that thing, and I'm going to quiz you.
I'm sending it to you right now, so you can
Thank you.
It.
All right, well, let's wind it down, Sarah. We've been through a lot today. Sexy gorillas. Some professor banging his dog.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
I know.
What else did we talk about? We talked about the club.
Party people.
Yeah, party people. Getting real excited.
Party Pope.
I think I sent you the wrong thing. No, I didn't. I was about to send you a kayaking video. You don't need that. We talked about how you are the vibe pope.
That is so nice.
All hail the vibe pope.
Upon me.
Yeah. I pray at the church of the vibe pope. I worship here.
Thank you, my child.
Yes.
But if Faith Hill hasn't written a song called Love That Lasts a Lifetime, I hope she does. Right?
I'm in. We already have half the work done for her. I know. I'm like, what else does she? We basically just need her guitar skills and a few vocals, and we're done.
And then cousins, man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I say gotta love them, but maybe don't. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Depends.
questionable. As long as they're removed or something like that.
We love you all. Thank you for listening. Hope your New Year's resolutions are going well. It's only the 8th, so fingers crossed.
Maybe you've just set themes like us.
Yeah, that's a safer route. Bye, everybody.